No shortage of racing this week with clashing stage races in Saudi Arabia, Spain, France, Australia and Langkawi, but I'm covering the Tour of Valencia because I can't say its real name. It has 2 summit finishes, no time trial, and despite the late on start of Jumbo-Visma's Tom Dumoulin, probably the best start list of any race this week. There was a fairly large climb in the middle of stage 1, but everyone stayed in touch and finally caught the break with 10k to go. The Koenig Quick-Step were mostly in control of the field after the catch with Jumbo-Visma and Lotto Soudal lurking behind. Jumbo-Visma seemed to lose Groenewegen around some roundabouts about 3k from the end, but he was moved back up on the left-hand side of the road. No surprise that DQS did the best lead out to put Fabio Jakobsen in the best position, and Groenewegen is still way back, but he won't smell the breeze for a very long time. Juan José Lobato is going to duck out of the group to avoid being boxed in, unwittingly giving the Dutchman a perfect lead out. It was mighty close with Jakobsen, but Groenewegen gave Jumbo-Visma their first victory of 2020 by a nose. Stage 2 was hilly and appealing enough for Alessandro De Marchi to get into the break, but the GC potential at the short, hard hill at the end gave them no chance. Literally every team did some work at some point during the TV coverage, as Jumbo-Visma knew that Groenewegen had no chance of holding on to the lead. The twisty running lined out the field and put Dylan Teuns and Wout Poels of Bahrain McLaren in the best position of the favourites as they hit the climb. There was an attack at 2k to go from Serrano at Caja Rural, but this climb only gets steeper, which doesn't favour early moves, so he was brought back in the final kilometre by Ben Swift pulling a reduced peloton. Swift's monster turn ended when UAE's Jan Palank spoiled the party by putting pressure on Ineos for team leader Tadej Pogačar by attacking. Teo Gegenhardt brought the Slovenian back to set up an immediate counter by Gianni Moscon. Spanish champion Valverde was the first to respond and actually reels Moscon in alone before sprinting from the front at 150 metres to go. This gives him the inside line for the sprint, but Pogačar hasn't seen the wind at all yet, and so uses an also fast sprinting Teuns to aid his acceleration, which is just sufficient to nip around the Movistar rider for the win and GC lead. Stage 3 was almost identical to stage 1 in many ways, firstly with the profile, then everyone making it over the climb, and it was Groenewegen versus Jakobsen again as their team set pace all day. There was another late flyer, this time from Mikko Kwiatkowski, which wasn't a bad idea with the technical running, but he was brought back with 2k to go. Jumbo-Visma got Groenewegen into much better position this time, and the Dutchman managed to hop onto the DQS train in the final kilometre. He was first in line but plays it well, coming in behind CCC's Matteo Trentin, who probably started his sprint a bit too early, and then finally coming around right at the end with Jakobsen on his wheel. It was almost as close as stage 1, but the DQS rider had just a little too much ground to make up in the final metres. And because this race doesn't have bonus seconds, Jack Haig was the new GC leader because his average finishing position from the first 3 stages was the best of the top 7. Even harder climb to finish stage 4 and an even more stacked breakaway, with Greg Van Avermaet and Pello Bilbao making it amongst 4 others. Not sure how Bilbao got away, he's only 10 seconds down on GC, but it certainly made the stage harder than it otherwise would have been. Teams mobbed at the front coming towards the climb, but CCC won the race to the bottom, attempting to slow the group's momentum coming onto the narrow road to give Van Avermaet the best chance of staying away. Ben Swift took over pace, making it around 3k to go and lined out the field more convincingly than Movistar did, eventually pulling the break within sight after a minute or two. Van Avermaet made one last bid for freedom and solo for quite a while, but he was eventually brought back by an attack from Pogačar. It was a good decision since nobody could follow and almost nobody had any teammates left, so it was left to a solo Wout Poels to chase. His gap was quite large initially, and his pressure caused the group to explode, putting Valverde way out of contention. Poels was joined by Dan Martin, Teuns, Gegenhardt and eventually race leader Haig in the final kilometre. Martin helped to limit the group's margin substantially in the final steep pitches as Pogačar started to rock on the bike. The Slovenian had just enough to take the stage and GC win, but Poels badly mistimes his finishing acceleration, bursting out with still 400 metres to go. He confirmed second on the stage, but he was chased down by Gegenhardt in third for a same time finish, 6 seconds off the UAE rider in first. Short final stage and last chance for somebody to beat Groenewegen. The unthreatening 4-rider break up the road were given barely a minute and were brought back with 9k to go as team positioning and general nervousness ramped up the pace. There was a moderate amount of chaos that saw even race leader Pogačar doing some work on the front, but eventually DQS took over with 3k to go. They held on into the final kilometre, which gave Jakobsen the best position with Groenewegen right on his wheel. The Jumbo-Visma rider had to fight to maintain that position with a Burgos rider, which is not ideally how you want to be using your energy in the final kilometre. Groenewegen makes up the ground on the Dutch champion almost immediately and holds alongside all the way, but a good back throw from the DQS rider and a poor one from Groenewegen gave Jakobsen the win. Behind it was all safe for Pogačar, who confirmed his career third GC win by 6 seconds to both Haig and Gegenhardt in second and third. Thank you very much for watching this race analysis. I'll see you all next time, but for now, goodbye.